This episode is brought to you by Tabletop Dominion, purveyors of handmade dice and artisan gaming accessories. Why not head over to tabletopdominion.com and use the code BILLOW to enjoy 10% off your order? Who knows, maybe you will find your very own blue dice of power.
Hello and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop podcast. Hello readers, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for sticking with this funny little show. Please rate us. Please review us. If you're listening to this on your phone, which you might be, why don't you pause now, head over to your podcast app, Apple, Spotify, whatever it might be, and leave us 5 stars of loveliness, or fewer. Be honest. It all just helps us appear in search and stuff. It's just useful. And as always, we would love to hear from you. Email us at hello@billowinghilltop.com. Nobody does that anymore. Paul's bag is depressingly flaccid and empty. Or you can find us on Twitter at billowinghilltop. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. That's it. I've got no other news or information. Just a quick warning though, this episode does contain explicit scenes of magical item buying and selling. So, you've been warned. Anyway, let's push on with episode 149 of the Billowing Hilltop podcast. To market. Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Good evening.
I'm here with the 300-foot high hologram. It is Graham.
Good evening.
My favourite player, Dan, Socialist Dan's Land, Dr. Eusebio Spider Lucas, Master of Spider Science, and easing himself into a specially adapted and recently cleaned high chair. We have
Who did the cleaning?
Johnny.
Don't ask.
Paul and I, well, Paul,
Good evening.
Paul called the shots and I did the actual
Elbow grease.
deed.
Hard
The
labour.
elbow grease.
Scrubbing
Did you get a job lot on industrial cleaning?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I had to use...
Let's use that room in the Taskmaster house with the plastic sheeting.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, it's nice and clean now. Thank you very much.
I had to wear one of those suits that they wear on crime scenes. It's white things with the overshoes. But it's
You look
all
like Greg
clean
Davies.
now and will remain clean until
Johnny
about
touches
halfway
it.
through this evening, I suspect, when Johnny voids himself at a moment of high excitement. Now, we should probably push straight on. At the end of last week, wasn't
Push
it a
on is an
wee-
unfortunate choice of...
No, well, that's what he has to. That's the high chair. That's one of the restrictions. Then shall I roll a dice to see who has to do the... we've got no Paul, by the way. Well, he's here, but he's deactivated. He's on charge because Scaly is not with us. So there's no point in
with
having Paul
anyone,
with
is
us.
he? Not with it.
No, Scaly's not with there. Well, we've been doing we've been doing Scaly. Oh god,
Scabby old fool.
I don't know when that will have gone out or if it's going to go out later. But we've been separately doing some Scaly stuff, which readers you probably heard already by now. Anyway, whatever.
Well, we
So,
haven't.
no, I know. Well, that's kind of
Yet.
the point. I'm going to roll a d4 looking around the table, left to my right, doing the recap of this very week. It is Graham.
Super.
Can you remember what happened last time?
Some of it. So we definitely decided to visit the Outsplinter headquarter house,
The residents.
the residence. We scoped it out a little bit and then we decided to climb in through the back courtyard garden into the house. I think we encountered maybe a guard.
Yep.
And an old lady, which I seem to recall Uncle Buggy beat in submission with his great axe and stuffed in his bag of holding. He's now
did.
wandering around the building in his billowing cloud of smoke.
Yep, with an elderly woman.
With an elderly woman
That's
in it.
right. Yeah.
Bag Sessions, I think, is drifting around the house invisible,
Yes.
not really
Invisible,
committing
yep.
to too much. Parker, I think, has the guard manacled and is ushering them upstairs following Burple, who has explored the upper level of the building and may have discovered Cuthbert.
Has discovered Cuthbert, or something that looks very like Cuthbert.
I was going
I
to
mean,
say, we
you
don't know for certain.
Yeah, you never know with this whole kind of setup.
And we have no Scaly with us.
You've got no Scaly. You're down 20% of your strength
Mm.
and 100% of your paladins.
But we don't need another hero.
Oh, very nice. Now, you see, if only that, Graham, could have been the episode title.
She lived down the road.
Who?
Tina Turner. She lives in Kustnach.
Oh, Tina Turner.
Over
Yeah,
the hill.
okay.
She used to walk around Migros in Zumicon and nobody would bat an eyelid.
Zumicon sounds like some kind of superhero conference.
Strange.
With your costume.
Half that sentence made no sense.
Mm.
Anyway, we're
Yes.
getting distracted.
Yep.
Where are we? You see, now I've lost my place.
Mm.
Cuthbert.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, well, it certainly looks like Cuthbert.
If I remember correctly, I have a see invisibility running and a
Right.
detect magic. Where's this music coming from?
Right.
This guy, there seems to be a piano.
Do you want to it's coming over? It's coming from
Yeah, I'll
your
step
right.
I'll step
Do you want to
into
step
the
into
room,
the room so you can see?
and I'll go and plant myself on the sofa opposite Cuthbert.
Cuthbert looks supremely relaxed about this, and he sort of nods like it's a good idea. Sitting at the piano on your right, in a one-fingered sort of way, picking out this tune, is Hesty Testapod.
Oh.
Looking a little bit older than when you last saw him. Like,
What?
the years have sort of caught up with him a bit. And he smiles at you and says, your mother taught me this little tune, Purple. And then carries on going. Cuthbert says,
Oh my.
Yes, make yourself comfortable.
now, I don't know what we wanted about round sequence, because Cuthbert and Burple could have a conversation, but obviously if everybody's just frozen as we...
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we split things into two sort of sequences?
Well, I presume I'll be with them next round.
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm-
You'll be with them very shortly. It's the number I've got, which is the household, is next at the end of Burple's turn. So what we can just do is check in with people and give them a turn each whilst we run events in the study. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Why don't you just carry on with the round sequence now?
As soon as Sessions realises he's the only person left on the ground floor, he's going to fly up to the upper floor.
But that's something that we can think about.
Exactly. So you
Because he's
can have
not
your
gonna-
conversation. I'm just going to
Yeah. Well,
drift
first,
around.
Do you want to say anything as you sit down at the end of your turn?
I want to...
Oh, by the way, there's nothing invisible. Cuthbert is radiating magic. Something.
Sorry,
there's
can I
definitely.
just interrupt?
Yeah.
Just scrolling through the news, and apparently Tina Turner just died.
We know, Johnny. That's what we were talking about.
But you were...
It's not a coincidence.
Yeah, that's why we mentioned
Oh, I
the
know.
song titles. Yeah.
Sad. Let's talk about Tina Turner because we
okay.
heard she
I
died.
thought it was
wasn't like,
coincidence,
oh my
sorry.
god, you must have just.
I thought it was some
cold-
slightly weird...
The cold
coincidence.
grip that must have settled into your heart, Johnny.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh god, Mike just mentioned David Attenborough. Shit.
All Googling, check he's still going.
I want to run my detect magic over him and try and get some kind of aura. See if he's basically an illusion.
Like a scanner in Star Trek, just like.
Detect magic
no, I
on
don't
you.
want to. There's
No, I
already
know.
running.
Detect magic on you.
Yeah, there's illusionary magic and there's some kind of transmutative magic.
So
on
it's not
him.
really him.
Good question. You don't know.
Looking at Cuthbert while I scan him, I will say, so, Hesty Testapod, how come you are here?
Directing that obviously at Hesty Testapod.
Well, I'm looking at Cuthbert.
There's no answer from Hesty Testapod.
Right. Is he also illusory?
No illusionary magic. Some kind of there is some magic aura on him, but then there's always a magic aura on Hesty Testapod, I suppose.
He's much older, is he?
Just a little older.
Visibly older, though.
You think he's in his 60s? Maybe it's just the cares of the world have aged him a little, rather than him having travelled through time or become 10 years older or something weird like that.
Are there any invisible sensors anywhere around the room?
No, nothing. It's all completely
Okay.
clean.
So he doesn't answer me when I say that.
No, he keeps on playing the piano,
In which case, I'll say to Cuthbert, so how are we going to resolve this?
That
Cuthbert says.
is a very good question.
At which point the little girl that was in the hallway comes giggling into the room.
Yeah.
She says, Uncle Bertie, have a look at my picture. And she skips up towards the fire, jumps up onto the sofa next to Cuthbert, kind of curls up next to him. And it looks like she's been drawing in a book, and she's showing him the drawing. He goes,
Oh, that's very good.
then he looks up at you, Burple, and he says,
They're not real, of course,
What aren't real?
and they can't hear us. As far as they're concerned, they're living, breathing people. I have to remind myself from time to time, to be honest. But everybody needs a family, and you, dear Burple, will understand that more than most.
I'm not really following. Who's
is
they?
getting really weird.
Are they
everybody in
are
the
they
house.
doppelgangers, or...
he nods at the little girl, and he looks over your shoulder at where
Right.
Hesty's sitting.
Oh, they're simulacrums, aren't they?
Hesty.
They're not living things.
Let's pick up with Buggy. Buggy, you're downstairs. You're in a cloud of smoke. You're in the kitchen. What do you want to do?
Right, this guy that's a young chap, he's just stood up by the sofa. Is he... I can't remember if he said he was a hostile.
He's moved a little bit out now. He's standing out in the room. In fact, out on the opening of that room, the doorway, and he's kind of going, shh, 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 now, to these two toddlers who are in a state of some panic.
Right. Does he have a weapon? Does he have armour? Does he look like a hostile?
I think I described him last week as he looks like an accountant on a Sunday morning. He looks a bit bleary, like he's been asleep on the sofa, and he looks a little bit concerned because these two little kids, I mean, his little kids, you don't know, are in a state of distress.
I'll shout to him, where is the cellar or basement?
He looks confused.
Tell me before I chop your head off.
Well, he's looking confused. Who is that? He's peering.
I'm in this smoke cloud. Tell me where the access to the cellar or basement, or I will chop your head off. Tell me now.
There is no cellar or basement here. Who are you? Why are you scaring my children? And he's sort of, well, he can't take a step because it's not his turn.
Where
but he would.
Where's the Thieves Guild? Where's
He looks genuinely mystified.
Where's the den?
He looks really, really out of sorts. He looks like somebody who was asleep on the sofa and they've woken up and their kids are screaming and they've walked out into the hall and there's a voice shouting from his dining room from a cloud of smoke. Tell me where the basement is or I'll chop your head off. Where's the Thieves Guild? Genuinely, he looks like a man who's just utterly baffled and kind of starting to get rather panicked. That's what he looks like. He may be pretending. You can roll an insight check if you want. But
yeah.
That's
no. Okay. Well, you've sort of told me already, so that it wouldn't be worth.
I said that's the impression that he's giving you. Yes.
All right. In that case, with the rest of my go, I'll make my way up the stairs.
Yep. You pass Parker and the guard.
Okay. Well, I think basically I can get to the top of the stairs.
Fine. Put yourself at the top of the stairs. Put your mini at the top of the stairs.
At the southern end of the corridor that we know leads to the bedrooms after peering through those windows.
Yes, one of the doors is open. The door to your left, Buggy. One that leads into a room that you guessed belonged to somebody elderly because there was a cane leaning up against one wall and there were glasses on the bedside table and a book.
No hostiles?
Nope.
Okay, that's my go.
There is a very small micro dressing gown with Chinese dragon design hanging over the back of a chair.
So this is St. Testavo's room, or a doppelganger version of him, or a Smolcrum version.
Something.
Can't be the real Hesty. It's my go.
Anything else from you, Parker?
Right, well, as I said, I'm front marching this woman up the stairs, and I will continue.
Yep. You get to the top.
Basically,
the stairs lead up into a cloud of smoke, but you can kind of...
Well, I mean, obviously I know what the cloud of smoke is because...
Yeah, right. But yeah, absolutely.
Past me.
Yeah.
I'll just keep on.
I'll say I'm at the southern end of the corridor. Just head north.
Yeah, I will basically move into the room where Purple is and push this woman down into the corner.
Sure. Cuthbert goes,
Oh, hello, Parker. Hello, Maisie.
She says, sorry, boss. They were too quick for me. He goes,
Not to worry. They're too quick for a lot of people.
and while we're in the business of taking free actions, he says,
You should leave them alone.
you pick up that he means her.
I ask you to spare them.
Sessions. Unless you've got something else you want to do, Parker, or say.
No, I think we're just basically going to have a conversation now. Just waiting for what Cuthbert says.
Sessions, well, as I said, everyone has moved upstairs, so I will move upstairs.
On the sweepstake.
Yep, I'll stop sort of halfway down the corridor, I guess.
Okay, well, you can see through the door, you can see Parker, you can see the
I'm going to
guard,
just
you can see
sit
the
in a position
fireplace.
where I can see Cuthbert.
Yeah, you can get to the point where you can see Cuthbert, but you're hanging back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The piano keeps picking out this... It's familiar, this tune. It's got a sort of melancholy feel to it. On 17, it's Burple.
So why have you imprisoned these people?
Oh, I haven't imprisoned them. They're free to lead their lives. I'm their uncle, you see. Her uncle, to be exact.
Points to the little girl.
As far as she's concerned, and they lead a normal life. It grounds me, you see. I get lonely. This is the closest thing I have to a family. They don't know. As far as they're concerned, they are just a normal family, leading a normal life. The servants in the kitchen, they're real. I'd be ever so grateful if you could spare them too. They've got no part in this quarrel. I do believe that we can still come to an arrangement.
Well, the problem is that you seem to be hell-bent on bringing about the Age of Worms, which, as you know, is a bit of a problem.
What on earth gave you that idea?
Well, you are one of the prophecies. Your actions is one of the prophecies that foretells the coming of the Age of Worms. You must know this.
Prophecies?
Oh, you don't know this?
No. I'm flattered. I have to say that this is using up time you really don't have, but come on, tell me, what do you mean by prophecy?
What do you mean by valuable time that we don't have?
Purple, as you know, the Wheel of Days turns for the time being. Let's just say things are in motion.
So we're determined to finish things by force, are we?
Not at all, Purple, but let me put it like this. You have just broken into my house, and I have not lifted a finger.
A finger, I'll show him the middle finger. What, like this finger, you mean?
He kind of slumps and sighs a bit. He looks at you, Parker, with an expression that says,
Really? Can nobody control this guy?
So, your men in the casino, that was you not raising a finger, was it?
Against you, Purple.
Well, you didn't say that.
Oh, I see. Are we saying that all of us are non-violent?
Well, you stole from us. You deceived us. Are you denying it?
I think we can still come to an arrangement where we can coexist peacefully.
What did you have in mind?
I think one thing we need to understand, Purple, is quite key, and I don't know how much you speak for your companions, but are you actually willing to come to an agreement, or are you dead set against it at any cost? At which point, there might be some violence, and all I'd ask, if that is the case and it comes to that, would you please just spare the innocent inhabitants of this house, because, they're not part of this. But if you are willing to come to an agreement, well, that'd be marvellous, and, we could come to some kind of deal where we coexist peacefully, don't you think?
I'm amenable to doing stuff in Frostanger, but we just felt that Fortuna was going to get a raw deal out of it.
Ah, Parker, yes. I appreciate that I may not have been as explicit as I could have been, so let me lay out the terms of the deal again for you. Now then, the gems. The gems I did not steal. I never stole. The gems that Burple threw, one of them on the ground, which I picked up, and Parker, yes, you have the other one. So no, not stolen. They're yours, you can have them back. And we'll even remove the tracking enchantment that we might have placed on them as well. Along with the tracking enchantment we placed in all of Alessandra's items before we return them to you. Yeah. Next, I promise and solemnly swear that I shall not interfere with or try to take possession of the Dice and Desire Casino and Pleasure House. We will leave Fortuna alone. And on that, and because I love you like a brother, Burple, you see, it's that Fortuna, she's in hock with another family, the Gomp family. You see, they are not so powerful as they once were since I came to prominence. You weren't aware of that now, were you, Burple? So that's a free one from me. And it goes without saying, I think I'd make a far better business partner. Now then, in return for all of this, I would like you just to do some very simple things for me. And it is simply that in Frostanger you make representations to Smebaboo, Boo Bagley, and Siege to get them to allow open communications with myself in order that I can reopen my trade routes to Frostanger. It's very simple, you see. That is all I want, nothing more. And if you do that, we can coexist peacefully. You can go about your business in Evenstar, whatever it is you're doing, although I suspect it's something to do with trading in magical items. But that's it, quite simple. What do you say?
It's possible with a further clause that you refrain from any further attempts to obtain items in our possession?
Oh, yes, of course.
Ever?
I don't think you have anything that I want.
Maybe not now, but we did. And you sent some people to obtain it from us.
Oh, that was Severiana. I mean, different leadership, different times. No, I'm not interested in such baubles. No, she was quite obsessed with the Rod of Seven Parts, you know. Not for me. I've got far too many other things to be worrying about, don't you know?
So, Mike, just stepping out of the conversation for a second, I mean, I'm just trying to understand the mechanism that has a Hesty Testapod that saw me come in and responded to me, but now doesn't know that I'm talking to him. I'm trying to work out what they are.
Do you mean...
What they're not real? Can I make an Arcana check or something?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm crap at Arcana, but... 12.
Well, Purple, what seems to be going on? First of all, they seem to be physical, they seem to be real. So are they doppelgangers? Are they creations or simulacra or automata, magical somethings? They also seem to be possessed of some kind of self-awareness to the extent that they seem to have identity. They seem to understand who they themselves are. But they also seem to be blind, selectively blind, and you're not quite sure what's controlling that. So, for example, Cuthbert can say hello to his, in inverted commas, niece, and everything seems perfectly normal, and then he can look straight over her at you and say, she's not real, you know, and she doesn't seem to pay any attention. It's almost like somebody who lives in 2D world and their perception of a 3D object. They only see the two-dimensional shadow of that object in their world. Maybe there's an element whereby they're just incapable of perceiving... I'm giving you way more than a 12 earns you. Incapable of perceiving interactions with real existence that don't fit their odd kind of separate bubble world.
Drones.
That's clumsy, but you get where I'm
do.
kind of
Can
going.
I do something?
I'm trying...
Automata.
Can I do something now?
Go on.
Dan can say something, and then yes, it's you, Buggy.
Well, I'm just trying to understand if this is Hesty Testapod somehow imprisoned, or whether it's like a programmed illusion or something. But
It depends on whether or not you trust Cuthbert. What Cuthbert seems to be saying is that it's not really Hesty.
yeah, so it could be a doppelganger.
Could be, except that it's a doppelganger that doesn't know that it's not the person that it is impersonating.
So that doesn't make any sense.
Why do you have an effigy of Hesty Testapod?
Oh, I thought you'd make you feel a little bit more comfortable. Obviously not.
Well, this room that's apparently Hesty's, I'm
Yep.
just going to do a quick look around to see if there's anything that I think's genuinely his. So there's this dressing gown, look at
Genuinely
the chest of
his.
drawers, the bedside table.
First of all, there's nothing hidden, so I don't need to make you make a kind of investigation check. Everything that is to be found is easily findable. They could be Hesty's real things. Assuming that you can overhear the sense of the conversation taking place at the other end of the hall, if somebody was going to create a pretend Hesty but steal Hesty's real stuff to put in pretend Hesty's room, that would be odd. So your sense looking around is these are things that are like Hesty's possessions, perhaps to, as it were, furnish the fake world of a fake Hesty that doesn't know it's fake.
Right.
Valuable. Anything valuable.
Oh,
I'm
looting.
just totally
nice.
confused.
You might be able to melt the bath down and sell it for scrap.
No, okay. All right.
Some of the furniture you might get a few silver pieces for.
No,
There's no
okay.
magic stuff or
Yeah.
jewellery or anything.
I think they're just simulacrum, aren't they?
Depends on whether or not you take what Cuthbert says at face value.
Don't take anything he says at face value.
But simulacra don't behave like that.
Don't they? I can't remember what the spell does.
What it's like is like Blade Runner. They're fabrications.
It is home again, jiggety-jig. Good evening, JF. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is, except, of course, that's a cultural reference that Purple is
Yeah.
utterly incapable of grasping.
I will cast a message spell to Parker to say, what do you think
Well, firstly, I'm utterly confused.
about the deal?
Secondly,
do we take the deal?
well, yeah, I mean, I don't see why anything wrong with taking the deal. It's not like we're going to really seriously get into bed with the mafia here. In the current circumstances, it seems to me like we're negotiating a truce rather than,
Yeah, but
you know,
with the
I mean, we were planning to go back to Frostanger.
but with the proviso that we put in a good word with.
I don't think we need to put in a good word. I mean, we just need to put in a word. We just need to basically say, all right, when we turn up in Frosthanger, we're going, by the way, we understood that you're not talking to Cuthbert. Just pass it on. I mean, we don't need to sort of go and slobber and be his emissary. I think it's just useful for him to have somebody who's actually turning up in Frosthanger and going to this party. Well, why not? What we don't have to go and say is, we are the emissaries of Sir Cuthbert, blah, 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 and act like we're his lackeys. I'm just saying
we can agree to
it
and then not do it. I mean, we've got no loyalty to Cuthbert.
I don't see the point in that.
No, you'd have no loyalty.
Then he'd have no requirement to do what he's promised to do.
Yeah.
No, but he's
I'm just saying, for the deal that's on offer, so there's a short-term and a long-term thing.
We were about to go and kill him.
There's a short-term and a long-term thing. The short-term thing is...
When we left the casino, we were prepared to go and storm his thing and basically kill him. And so, the idea that we're not sticking to the word of a bargain with him, I don't think...
As I said, I think there's a short-term and a long-term thing.
The only other thing is innocents or relatively innocent people will be affected by that decision, which is the gambling hall. So I guess on that basis, we will have to stick to his bargain.
I said, I think there's a short-term and a long-term thing. The short-term thing
Cuthbert looks up and says,
well, would you like a little bit of privacy to talk about this amongst yourselves?
That's why I used a message spell to talk with Lucas.
Yeah, I know, but Johnny's...
Johnny's shouting down the hall.
From a cloud of smoke. Don't trust him.
And let's draw a veil over the Tanu-like mental communication that's taking place. That message spell has obviously gone backwards and forwards quite a lot as well. In theory, it's one message one way, one message the other.
Yeah.
We're out of round sequence. We'll keep an eye on the clock, but we're out of round sequence. Cuthbert squiggles the hair of his niece and then stands wearily up from the sofa. He's a young man, a very young man. But he looks weary. I mean, it's not him, but he looks weary. And he kind of rubs his hands over his face and kind of shakes his head a little as if he's not had enough sleep. And he says,
if you need some time, do let me know. Things are moving on. Time is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Just once again, they may not be real, but they don't know that and they're innocent, so I would just implore you. If the answer is no, I would just ask that you spare them if we have to go down that other road, which would be unfortunate.
I'll let the old woman out the bag. And I'll have a quick search of this bedroom, the other bedroom.
It might be her bedroom, actually. There's nothing particular. There might be some jewellery. Yeah, you can steal some jewellery if you like. Looks like it's worth a little bit of money. Do you want to steal her?
No, I won't steal any jewellery.
Okay.
I mean, I can't think that there would be anything else. There's nothing
I think the only question is,
go on.
Do we feel that at this point in the campaign we need to deal with this, or do we just park it and come back to it later?
That's what I'm thinking. I think we want to park it and move on.
Park it. There's some weird stuff going on here, and it's obviously not come to light.
Well, it might not be part.
It
might not be part of the main story. It's part of the prophecy, which might imply that it is, but it's not necessarily. So
it's all very weird.
Just like if we detect any
that's
of your
metagaming, Burple.
If we detect any meddling in our affairs,
before we agree,
and we'll come for you.
There's a very brief moment where he seems to sort of flicker. Briefly, it's Alessandra standing there, and then it's back to him again. He doesn't seem to even have realised that happened.
You were saying, Graham, about...
Yeah, I think there's one question that he needs to answer before we agree.
Oh, hello, Sessions.
Yeah, I'm here.
He says, looking in your general direction, but not being able to see you.
Yep. Is he working actively in any form to bring about the Age of Worms?
What piffle? Absolutely not. I mean, Burple's been kind of twittering on about this prophecy thing. I don't quite understand it. Why on earth would I want to bring about the end of all things? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to me. Rubbish.
Just checking. I want to do an insight check on him. 30. Natural 20.
Whatever it is you're talking to seems to be on the level.
Okay.
So if we do this agreement, then we can swap our magic, can we? Or acquire our magic list.
You got a deal.
Maybe one other question we should ask and watch for the reaction is, who are we actually talking to? Who's behind the voice right now?
We need to verify that it's actually Cuthbert, don't we?
Or at least to figure out whether we think it is or not. Not that it changes
Ask him a
much,
personal
but-
question from the past that only he would know.
I think it's generally him that we're talking to. Maybe not.
Well,
I mean,
it's
they
not
have some
100%
link
certain.
to the devils, don't they? To some powerful demonic forces. Definitely not on the level, but I think it's good enough to kind of ignore him. If we can just, not hear from him ever.
We could ask him the name of the... Just trying to think of something only Cuthbert would know. The name of the bird that we asked for directions in the Mist Marsh.
I'll go back to the Whispering Cairn. Some detail from that. The lanterns.
Obsidian.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, you could ask him what he collected when he was in the Whispering Cairn. What item did he collect from the entrance?
Yeah.
Although don't forget, he did actually know about the boy.
So
Did he know about the boy?
Well, he was arguing.
You ask him what
Hesty
Hesty-Testapod was wearing when we first met him.
Will he know? He'll know it's a dressing gown, won't he? Because he's got a replica in the bedroom.
That's true, I suppose.
So we were going to say, who are we talking to? It's Cuthbert, eh? Who are we speaking to?
Oh, Bugraft. We never really got to know each other.
Yeah. I can't.
You can't.
I can't ask a question about the obsidian because I wasn't there. Someone else will have to ask.
What question were you going to ask?
What item did he collect from the entranceway of the Whispering Cairn? Which was the answer was pieces of obsidian.
Oh, I see.
But I can ask that question, because it was my question.
No, I'm obviously not really here.
No, we know that. We just want to know who's behind the voice.
Is it Cuthbert?
I'm a complicated person, Bugraft. I'm not everything I appear to be. And even if I were to be with you in person, I would not be as I appear to be. You must understand. I have a heritage. It is not something I control, but I live with it and I can exploit it. But I am of the world, not from out of the world, and I have worldly concerns. So if you deal with me straight, I will deal with you
Can he
straight.
answer the question about the item in the entrance?
The fragments from the entrance.
He reaches into a pouch in his belt and he says,
Ha! Here you see, I've kept a couple of these for sentimental reasons. Ah, the fun. Anyway, tick-tock, decision time?
Okay, I mean, I'm okay with it.
Are we all agreed then?
Yeah.
For now.
I'm alright.
Excellent.
he disappears and reappears in the hallway. It's not really a teleport. It's more like
The real.
his signal has been switched off and then switched on again somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
He walks down the hallway towards the bedroom. Does anybody want to follow?
Yeah.
When you get to the door into the room that you think may belong to the lady that you had in your bag of holding, he stands in the doorway and on the windowsill there is a raven. And he nods to the raven and the raven flies away. And he turns back to you, Buggy, and he says,
Excellent. And good luck with the rest of your adventures.
Hang on.
and he disappears. What do you want to do?
I'll say out loud, you forgot to remove the enchantments.
I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, but...
And where are the other gems?
Well, he said that he would return them to you and he would remove the enchantments, but you're not quite sure what that's going to involve. He's not let you down, but we didn't get into it.
So now what do we do? Head back to one of the casinos and get our magic list sorted.
Do you want to do?
Yes, let's do that. Where did we leave Fortuna?
Well, she was sort of packing up to flee. You were talking about... trying to pacify her. Buggy was saying things like, we can fight to the last man.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
could fortify this place and make a final stand. And she looked like she would rather be anywhere but there. As always, absolute genius from Johnny. So what do you want to do?
Well, let's go back to the...
You can head back. You can head back there.
Yeah,
Sure.
magic.
It's the only way you'll know if.
Yeah, we'll head
you
back
know.
there.
Back to the Dice and Desire Casino and Pleasure House. Now taking bookings through Apeshit and Mage. Well, things have settled. It's open. The head of Malaby Splinter Skull has been removed from the pike outside, and things have been tidied up. Keshia, looking kind of slightly bewildered but also slightly relieved to see you, is pacing up and down in the atrium at the top of the steps. And it seems like the casino is back in operation. When she sees you arrive, she's like, "Oh, you're back. Well, I don't know what you've done, but everything seems to be okay again. I've got something to show you. And she beckons you into the main part of the casino and beckons you back to the office where you had your confrontation with Cuthbert's people. And Fortuna, looking a lot more composed, in an office which looks like it's, well, they've put sawdust down on the carpet to soak up, the most of the gore. Things that were knocked over have been stood up and wiped down. She is sitting there, and on the table in front of her are 2 gems. She says, "These arrived for you, and this." And there's a scroll case. I've had word that everything is fine. You must have sorted everything out. Sorry if I was a little bit agitated before, but I mean, really,
It's all right.
it wasn't the best way to start the day.
There's a scroll case. Okay, let's have a look at the scroll case.
You going to open it?
Yeah.
Explodes. There are 2 scrolls in there. They seem to have enchantments on them or some kind of spell on them. Something you don't particularly recognise, but you can read the tops of both.
Yeah.
They both seem pretty similar, but you'd have to cast the spells. They're not spells that you recognise.
Oh.
But what's the title of the spells?
Well, they look like there's something to do with the removal of an enchantment.
Okay,
So
well,
what were the gems worth?
5,000 each.
10,000 gold pieces each.
10,000 each.
So 5,000 gold pieces each.
Well, there are 3, aren't there? We've got 3 gems.
Parker has got one of them.
Oh, okay, we got 3, even more.
And there's... But how many of
The
us?
foundation of your blood vendetta with this guy, you don't...
Yeah, we're actually not that bothered.
Not that
No, and you don't actually know what you actually don't know what the argument was about. It's wrong
just
about
basically
the argument.
picking
in
an
the first
argument for
place.
the sake of picking an argument.
Yeah, you just hate him.
Yeah, but we've got 30,000 GP, and there are 3 of us.
Aren't there,
There are
4 of us?
There are 5 of you in total, and 4 of you present.
So 4 ways is 7,000,
7,500 each.
7,500 each.
Well, now that changes life.
That's quite nice.
Is anybody looking at these gems?
Yes.
Mike steers you into.
Yes.
They
looking
still
at
got
the
that-
gems.
They don't seem to still have that little telltale 3-part flame dwelling within them, but the one that Parker has got does.
Right. So the scrolls are to remove it on the 3rd.
And Alessandra's items.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
we
can
will
heat them in a pile and then...
cast the spells. Yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Fine, yes. If you cast the 2 spells, one of them removes the enchantment on the 3rd gem, and the other one removes the enchantment on Alessandra's possessions.
Okay. So we can add 7,500 GP to our character sheets, correct?
That's what they're worth. You have to sell them.
We want to cash them in.
Yeah, we want to cash them in.
You can cash them in here. Fortuna looks a little bit dubious.
Right.
So you never have to worry about those gems ever again.
Right. And now let's talk about acquiring some magical items.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
so long
so
ago that I can't actually...
I can't actually remember what it was I wanted to buy.
And also,
I have a note.
well, I have
know
it,
what I
that you've-
want.
I have it
But
all
I
written
have a
down,
note
But
of everything that you asked for.
actually,
I
I'm
put it on
going to
a
have to review it again now because
Yes,
obviously
because the
I now have
situation-
7,500.
No.
Well, it's your fault.
Have we got Alessandra's items? Was I given a parry out to wound closure?
Yes, you had Alessandra's
that
items
right?
when you made your shopping lists. And I think you factored in your possession,
Yes.
wish to sell, wish to retain
I
of
did.
those items when you made
Yes.
your shopping
did.
lists.
We
Well,
did.
I didn't because I gave you a note saying I sold the Frostbrand and Ring of Jumping, not the parry out.
Let me just get the stuff.
I factored in Alessandra's stuff.
I don't have what you were selling. I have what you wanted to buy.
I have written down what I was going to sell.
So let's start with Sessions. What did he want to sell? What did he want to buy?
Well, I wanted to buy a cube of 4th
Yeah.
But,
What did you want to buy that I would let you have?
that you'd let me have. So then we settled, eventually, I think.
It is an extraordinarily overpowered item, the cube of 4.
It is. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, no wonder you wanted it. And there's no way that's,
Ever.
Okay.
it's on the list, but it's not coming in.
So I wanted to buy +2 breastplate.
Yes.
I think a sensor of controlling air elementals and a handy haversack.
That's what I've got. Yes.
And I was going to sell my +1 breastplate.
Yes. Burple.
Burple wanted a girdle of giant strength.
It's a belt of hill giant strength. Yep.
Yeah. but I have a bit more money now, so I couldn't afford what was the next one up, Fire Giant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't remember what the different costs were of the two.
Okay, well, we'll get back to that. Okay. Buggy?
Are we using
Sounds good.
Are we using the PDF,
Does anybody
Mike?
want to fundamentally rejig their selling and purchasing decisions in the light of the cash that just gained?
I'll just...
Probably not. Probably not.
I need to check because basically I've sent you that list and I've tallied all the stuff up that I was selling.
Well, you've only asked for one thing.
But the thing is that because basically I was selling it all to get the staff, but if I remember rightly, there was another item which was about 4,000 or 5,000 more expensive. I just need to go and read through the magic items list again. I can do that.
The only other one, I
guess
guess the Ring of Invisibility was kiboshed as well, yeah?
No, you didn't ask for it.
I did, it was option 1. It was on the very first option I sent you.
I've got option 1 or I've got option 2.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, which of those options do you want to go for? And you said option 2. I thought you meant I could either go this way or I could go that way.
I wanted to know whether either of them were permissible.
Right.
For the purposes of just moving things along,
No,
my decision, basically everything I sent you, I'm still selling, right? And the only change will be is maybe I won't get the Staff of Striking, but I'll get some other item. But effectively, the whole process is all it's going to be is there's just a different item at the end. And unless I say some item and you go, no, well, then it'll be the Staff of Striking, or it'll be some other item. But it's not going to fundamentally change the process we go through here now.
Well, why don't you have while we do the others, let's work. Why don't we put ourselves in a position where
I will. I'm just about to go and look through it now, but I'm just saying.
Okay, you look for it now. Let's go back to Buggy. I get the impression that you didn't realise that you had an Alessandra item that you could have been selling.
No,
right?
it doesn't. It doesn't make any difference. I'll just sell it. I'm not going to get anything else. But in terms of the Belt of Giant Strength, that sane magical prices list, it says I did look at that, but it says it can't be priced because it breaks bounded accuracy. I don't know what that means.
It means
so there
that
wasn't
they
a price
can't.
to it.
Banded accuracy is the system whereby all of the maths works in 5e. And they're using that structure of maths to price items based upon pluses and what difference they make. What they're saying is that the belts of giant strength play around with how that maths works so that they can't use that maths as a way of pricing them. They're not saying you can't have them. They're saying we can't give you a price based upon the system we've used to price everything else. That's basically all they're saying.
So how did Dan come up with the price for the...
He asked me, and...
Right.
I think I've got some prices here.
So I might go for the trouble is it does require achievement, which is a bit annoying.
Right. Okay, here we go. So you can't get anything above fire because they're legendary. Belt of Hill Giant Strength, 16,000 gold pieces, 4 days acquisition time. A Belt of Frost or Stone Giant Strength, 36,000 gold pieces, and an 8-day waiting time. Fire Giant Strength, 72,000 gold pieces, and also 8 days wait.
So what was 36? What was that one?
Frost or Stone.
Okay. And
an 8-day waiting time. So you wouldn't get it this week. You'd have to come back next week. You could have it in 4 days if you were prepared to pay double.
Budget anyway. I'll just stick with my original list.
So Dan.
Yes. What would I get?
Are you happy roughly with what you want, or do you want to make any...
I just want to ask, what would I get for Boots of the Elven kind?
They're 2,500.
So 1,250.
1,250. What would I get for the Bow of the East Wind?
It's very rare. They'll offer you 11 grand for it. Niche is the word they're going to use.
So it's 11,000, 12,000. What would I get for the Meta Magic Rod?
You would get 8,000.
8,000. So that's basically 20,250. In cash, I've got 21,000. So I've got 41,000. So I could afford the Frost Giant, whatever the other one is. I could afford
36
that.
grand. Stone or Frost, 36,000. 8-day wait.
8 days in this game is an age, isn't it? An absolute age.
Yep.
How much is a Ring of Invisibility?
Ring of Invisibility...
10,000.
10,000. There you go.
Which I asked about first.
And it's legendary, so you can't get it.
There's something really weird in these tables. Cheaper items are legendary. You would have thought they'd be more expensive.
We're in an odd position here. I agree with you. It seems like the pricing is idiosyncratic. It doesn't directly relate to the rarity of the items. But we're not going to come up with another system. We don't have another system for pricing items. There's something in Tasha, isn't there? Or something in Xanathar, but it's massively punitive on characters. It's much, much longer waits, and it's much more expensive. I would take these prices if I were you, and the waiting times.
Yeah.
In Tasha or whatever it is, it's like weeks and weeks to get one item.
So the hill giant strength is what? I'll look it up, don't worry.
No, I got it.
No, I mean, what is the bonus? What is the number?
Oh,
That's all I mean. Sorry, I got a DM's guide.
basically, I
Delta
so should have
strength,
had you made
so-
do this and then given you the gems back.
Yeah.
All of the work we've done to get you set up so that we could do this, it's all just in the fucking bin, isn't it?
I can go through my list.
I'm done.
You're done.
Yeah,
Okay, so now
I
all we
can-
need to do is, so Graham's done,
And no change.
Lucas is done, Johnny is done. We've got one more thing, which is Dan. What was your question? Sorry.
No, I don't have a question. It's 21 or 23 strength. Am I being greedy?
Oh, you mean
going
21 of Hill
23?
Giant. So basically, it's a +1 or +2 on your strength modifier. I mean, it's plus loads on your strength modifier, but another 1 net if you go for stone or frost.
With 8 days. How long until the ball?
The ball is on Asmodee. Today is Ut, so it's 6 days. Moon Day, Tonge, weekday,
Surely 5
Thumb.
now. I thought we were 6
Sunday, Asmodee.
2 days after that. Do I have to select now?
Yes, what you're doing is you're going to meet dealers in the casinos, assayers and procurers. Sometimes that's the same person. Assayer takes a jeweler's eyepiece and whatever enchantments and checks that the items you have up for sale are
Genuine.
all right,
Yep.
genuine, and then they give you a price for them, which we've already established in
Yeah.
our toing and fro.
I'm happy with that.
And then you tell them what you'd like, and they go off and try and find somebody who can source the item that you want. And we have to have a rule that represents how long that takes, and depending upon the rarity of the item, that's how it works. It's a really simple system. There's no dice rolls. There's no.
So I'm
whatever.
happy selling the items, right? So that gives me enough for frost or fire or whatever. So my question is, if I say, get me one of these, if you can get fire, good. If you can get the other one, good. I'll take whichever one you can get in 4 days.
Okay, I see where you're going
Or
with
in
this,
6
but I
days.
don't think we can kind of get into that.
Okay.
I think Mike said it's double the price if you want to do it in half the time.
Right.
I understand that if you want to nail on, but I'm saying if you could try and get
I see
me
what you're
one,
trying to do. Were you to
Try and get me a-
stumble across this fantastically rare item while looking for the other one, I would buy it off you, is what you're really saying.
yes.
I can't get into that because then I'm individually trying to assess each individual item and making dice rolls and stuff. It just gets really complicated.
Okay. It's just
Even more
It would just be a roll, wouldn't it? Like it's 6 days as opposed to 8 days.
The moment I say, Dan, that actually there is a potential for you to get an item that I've said you're going to get in 8 days, 4 days based on a roll, we have to start all over again, and everybody else would be like, oh, well, in that case...
You know, that legendary item, maybe that's attainable.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to add
But have
something
something
to
immutable.
this.
You have nice
Yeah, break the
immutable
system.
system based on days and prices.
Yeah.
What do you
that's
think,
the way
guys?
it
Shall I go for the extra plus one?
I would
You always-
not for 8 days because you'll need it in. It's all going to kick
No,
off
no,
in 6
But
days.
presumably you're not going to get rid of something while you're waiting. Will you be down attack bonus while you're waiting, or is it just that
Well,
you're not
I'm
going
not
to get
going to
that
part
attack
with these
bonus?
items, am I, beforehand? He's going to line up a buyer.
No. You part with the items. Otherwise, you don't have the money.
Yeah.
No, at the time.
It's
well-
not like you show them the items and then they go off for ages trying to find all this incredibly rare stuff on the understanding that you're going to turn up with all of these items in 4 days' time and hand it over. Whether or not people swap briefcases at exactly the right time or they leave them in escrow or whatever it is, you say goodbye to one set of items, you say hello to another set of items X number of days later. That's the way that it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well,
I'm going to add one item
sell-
to the list, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you
I'm
adding?
going to add the Iron Bands of Bilaro. 4,000 cost rare, so it should also be available in 4 days, which I believe was the Staff of Striking was also 4 days.
What do they do?
It's a little ball, you basically throw it at somebody and it sort of wraps bands
It's band you
around
put around your thing and it gives you storm giant strength.
And 3 wishes. Actually, can I just make one small edit to my list?
Yeah, hold on. Iron Bands of Bolero, rare 4. Yeah, okay. What sessions is change?
I'd like to upgrade from the handy haversack to bag of holding.
Oh, that's easy. What's the rarity of a bag of holding?
Hang on, I had it open a second ago. Where's it gone?
Oh, 4,000.
No.
Oh, if you've got it open, you can see what the rarity is.
Uncommon. Easy. Like 2 days, isn't it?
So it's actually quicker. 2 days.
What are we getting?
It's uncommon.
7,500. Oh, just no, I don't need it. Yeah, it's good.
We've got.
Can I ask one more? I'm sorry. I've just got loads more money now, so I'm going for the hill giant, right? So I'm going for the 16,000.
Yes.
Right, going for that. But now I've got loads left over.
Right.
Right. So I'm going into the casino. I'm finding somebody, someone to buy these things, and I part with them now, and they give me the money now.
Presumably, Fortuna and Thingy are sort of.
Yeah, I mean, there's some kind of system that they have whereby the money is held in escrow, or some promissory note is worked out, or they put. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in theory, you're asking some person to go out and buy you something incredibly expensive.
I'm talking about selling.
Rare.
I'm talking about selling my bow. Yeah. Right. So, guys, I'll give you 11,000 for the bow.
Yeah.
Right.
If you just sell and you don't want to buy, you get the 11,000 now.
Right.
And you say goodbye to the bow.
Why can't I wait for 4 days and then sell it in 4 days' time instead of selling it now?
Do you have enough money to buy the things you want to buy?
Do you have enough money to buy the giant? Yeah, if you hand over the cash, no problem.
Got it. I'll hand over the cash.
So you hand over 16,000.
I'll sell the bow. I'll sell the bow. So that's 11,000.
Okay, so
I'll sell the boots.
Let's not break this all down. We're just going to do this in one go. Are you ready? Is everybody ready?
Yes,
Is everybody
we're all ready.
Buy?
Let's go.
Right, okay. Sessions. Let's start with sessions.
I'm going to sell. I'm going to buy, and I'll give cash for this. The +2 breastplate, the sensor.
How much is that?
6,000 gold pieces.
To buy.
I'm going to buy a sensor of controlling air elementals, 8,000 gold pieces, and a bag of holding, 4,000 gold pieces. 18,000 gold pieces in total. Cash on the table.
Fine.
When I get my breastplate, I will sell the +1 breastplate. But until then,
so your breastplate's going to take 8 days. It's very rare.
8 days.
Yeah, I did tell you this.
Did you?
Bag of holding only takes 2 days because it's uncommon, and the sensor of air elementals is rare and therefore takes 4 days. Are we starting again?
Too late now.
No, because I don't need to sell my +1 breastplate.
Nothing to see
so
here.
I will, in 8 days, I'll come back for my better breastplate.
Because you're handing down cash.
I'm handing out cash. Yeah.
Excellent. Burple.
So I am selling my boots of the elven kind, the bow of the east wind, and I will hang on to the meta magic rod for now.
Yeah.
And I want to buy a blast.
I wouldn't mind one of those.
I want to.
No, let's not start this all over again.
I want a +2 breastplate, a bag of holding, and a belt of hill giant strength.
And you got the money?
Yep.
Okay, so the +2 breastplate's an 8-day wait.
Yep.
Are you putting down cash?
Yeah.
Okay. The belt of hill giant strength is 16,000 gold pieces and will take 4 days.
Yep.
A bag of holding. How much? How much?
4,000 and
4,000, and it'll take 2 days.
2 days. Okay.
Right, Buggy. What are you selling?
Right, I'm selling the Frostbrand and Ring of Jumping at 3,750. That's half value. I'll purchase at a total of 11,520 the following items which do not require attunement. Cap of Water Breathing, uncommon, 1,000 GP. An Elemental Gem, that's the Earth Elemental, 960. Elixir of Health, which is rare, 120. 3 of those, please.
Yeah.
Potion of Speed, which is very rare. 3 of those, please. Total of
That's going to take a bit of time to get together.
Hole, which is rare, for 8,000.
That's all fine. The elixirs and the potions you don't trade in the casinos. You go into the district known as Cloak and Dagger. That's where students from the Sorcerer's Spire sell potions on the side to basically make
students.
I'm
not buying bloody magical items off students.
Well, in that case, I can save you a load of money.
Instantly available.
It's mechanically exactly the same. You ask the student in question to make you a potion, and they go off and make it. It's just a bit of flavour.
What are the two? So, what level's 2 days?
Uncommon.
Thank you.
Rare 4, very rare 8.
That's right. Above that, all bets are off because you're into legendary and these things. If there is one, there may be one in the world, and they just look at you like, is that real? Does that actually exist? And then finally, Parker.
Right, so I am selling the Cloak of the Arachnid, the +2 longbow, the Ring of Protection, the +2 quarterstaff, and then a gem, and then I've got 12,750 in current cash.
Yep.
And then we've just got another 7,500. And then I am purchasing Staff of Striking, which is very rare.
Yeah, 8 days.
8 days, 21,000.
Yes.
And the Iron Bands of Bilaro costing 4,000, and they're rare. So that's 4 days.
Excellent. Right. So in summary,
And that leaves me 3,000 something or other gold pieces.
yeah, keep the change. It is Ut. On Tonge, the bags of holding will be available, as will the cap of water breathing, as will the elemental gem for Buggy. On Thump Day, you will be able to take ownership of the Sensor of Air Elementals sessions, the Belt of Hill Giant Strength, Burple, the Elixirs of Health, all 3 of them, Buggy, and the Portable Hole. And Parker, you will get your Iron Bands of Bilaro.
Then we're going to the
Next.
ball, aren't we? We're not going to wait.
Then you're doing whatever you're doing. Next Moon Day, you will be able to pick up your +2 breastplate sessions, as will you, Burple. And your Potions of Speed will be ready, Buggy. And Parker, your Staff of Striking. That's in 8 days' time. Everybody happy with that?
Yes, I might want
Yeah,
one more
and
thing.
what day was the...
Just injecting the most kind of ambivalence
Yeah,
into the
what
word
was the
yes
name
I've
of-
ever heard.
The ball or
Yes.
whatever we're going to is in 6 days.
What's the name of the ball? It's 6
Zeech's
days.
Gala.
It's on the...
Asthma Day.
Right.
By then you'll have acquired everything that is either uncommon or rare. 2 days after the ball,
That's
so
right.
the next week,
Okay.
you will be able to return here and pick up the
Perfect.
very rare.
Matches with my...
Mike.
understanding.
Good. Unless somebody does. Yes.
I might.
Do we teleport back after the after we've
Well, let's
got the rare item?
You can't.
Ah,
You
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
You haven't got a teleport spell until you've taken a long rest, and you can't take a long rest until after midnight.
Oh,
Mike.
well, I was sort of fast forwarding for the
Well,
4 days.
let
for
me
the
go
rare.
with Dan, and then we'll get back to
How
Dan.
much for a brass horn of Valhalla?
Will take 4 days to find, and it will cost you 8,400 gold pieces. Do you want to add it to your shopping list?
No, thank you. 8,000 is more than I have in cash.
Right. Are we done? We're done. Okay, so you make your deals.
Yeah.
You sell your stuff. It takes up the bulk of the morning. They come in with one of those trays of sandwiches from Pret. There's the
Yeah.
chicken salad. There's the salmon. There's the ham and cheese. You know,
Anything
the standard
vegetarian?
Cheese and pickle.
There's cheese and pickle. And crisps and a selection of soft drinks. You emerge from your office, and as you do so, the door to Fortuna's office is open. Keshia pops her head around the door and says, "You're all done. It's all sorted." Fortuna would like a word if you just got a second.
Okay.
Sitting with Fortuna at her desk is a figure. The figure is a dwarf.
Don't know any dwarves.
Fortuna says, "This is Mr. Gomp."
Aha.
Gomp.
Mr. Gomp and I, or rather Mr. Gomp's family and I, have a relationship that goes back some time. And that relationship was under threat, and it seems that somehow, and to be honest, I have no idea how, you have somehow averted that threat. I have to say, things didn't look great earlier on. Anyway, I'm obviously very grateful, but also Mr. Gomp is very grateful. And it so turns out that you and Mr. Gomp, your interests may be aligned. Gomp regards you over his enormous braided beard. His beard is braided into 5. That signifies he is fairly senior. The deity of the doors is the unibraid, a single band around the beard as it dangles, signifying the absolute primacy. Top of the shop, number 1 dwarf. And as dwarves progress in seniority, they braid their beards into progressively fewer braids. Well, he's a 5-braid dwarf, somebody to be esteemed. He looks at you, he's got enormous eyebrows as well, and he says, "Gentlemen, what if I was to tell you that I knew a way for you to collapse the little enterprise of our friend Mr. Elspinter, bring it crashing down around his ears, loot his riches, and walk away laughing into the sunset? What would you say?"
Yeah.
I'd say that's a very tempting
We
offer.
will find out the details of that offer. What Mr. Gomp has to tell you when we pick things up next week.
I think it's just Cuthbert testing us whether we're loyal to the agreement or not. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Prince of Red Hand and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Prince of Red Hand was written by Richard Pett. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening.
Hey cool people, do you like mead, magic, and long walks in the icy tundra? Ever wonder what your sled dogs are thinking about? Why not cap off your night with a frosty tabletop adventure?
You're my mum. You made me out of meat. Meat, mother.
What have I done?
Is your grandma dying of leg? I'm sorry, I have to ask.
But it's actually because I bought some boxer shorts from Targets recently, and they forgot to remove the security clip!
In bust we must.
In bust we must, indeed.
Onward? Excuse me, young man.
Careful, I've got a cut bum. Wait, do you have a missing ring finger?
No, I got yours now.
That makes sense.
No.
Fuck this, I'm having a Kingston. I'm getting all sweaty and I need a Kingston.
She is desperate to keep her realm, and she will fight any that would take that away.
Well, grab your Ugg boots and join Reflex Save every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform.